Yo, people, it's your boy Tigz,
It's your girl, Andrea.
and we are here for an SOS session. We are in the Pickaxe Studio. Pickaxe AI is a platform that we're able to, well, maybe you know more about it, Andrea, but we're able to build agents within the platform. So I guess it acts as an AI playground. Can you tell us any more about it?
Well, what I like about Pickaxe, and I'll just blow up the screen here. We spoke to the founders. I think now it's been a couple weeks ago before their beta, and we really wanted to share this with the community because it's actually very cool. Not only does it allow you to create your own chatbots or agents, that's initially the first iteration of it. Not agents, chatbots. Now they're allowing you to create your GPTs that you can deploy on your own websites. One of the big problems with chat GPT is you can create a custom GPT, but when you go into the line of assistance, it becomes a little bit more complex to put on your sites. The other thing is that now they're allowing you to create agents that you can just sell, or again, chatbots that you can just sell. So kind of like a cross between Gumroad and AI, open AI. So I'm really excited about this. The last time I tested it, they were in beta, but now they were heading into their new version. So now we get to go in and look and play around, create a pickaxe. The thing that I was most impressed with the last time is that it was basically AI creating AI. So now I'm excited to play around with Tigz, and I believe we're in their beta phase for their new version. So are you ready to take a look, Tigz?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you what I'm most excited about. So, like yourself, I got in the trenches from early, from the very moment we was able to have dialogue with ChatGPT. I was already thinking, how can I get this? How can I get this ish on my website to act as a chatbot? So developed a concept, developed TIGZBOT. That wasn't actually the conception. The conception of TIGZBOT was a many chatbot many years ago. And so the moment that came out, you can imagine my excitement that TIGZBOT was about to develop and actually start thinking for oneself. And so I went over there, and I can tell you the nightmares, the endless hours, the conversations backwards and forwards with Wix. And oh my goodness, I've built this wonderful bot. It speaks like me. It uses my emojis from early. People weren't even onto this yet. But you think I could get that to show on my website for the life of me? I tried upgrading. I tried for months. Then I wasn't happy with the interface. I wanted it to simply appear in the bottom right-hand corner as a chatbot would on a site introducing someone, but a more interactive version. So not too rigid and not too scripted. I wanted it to almost be, I thought it would be cool to have more of a fluid conversation, or at least a fluid conversation. And it will be a nice touch because people were still new to it. So that was my objective. I partially achieved it. I then went to build a separate landing page just with the interface of ChatGPT pulled in as an embed so people can communicate with it. And then, to be honest with you, there were so many headaches in those days and so many inconsistencies. I think around the time it started working, that was when the GPT store was coming out. And there's me thinking, yeah, TIGZBOT. I'm at the front of this. I'm about to go kill this game, right? I thought I'm on this from early, yo. And the the day the GPT store opened, I said, yo, it's an absolute wrap. And so I logged on. I went to sign into the GPT store, and it said, "You're from the UK. Screw off." Can you imagine? Can you imagine my disappointment, y'all? So now you now you know the emotion behind how happy I am genuinely to see a tool like Pickaxe, and I'm very excited to explore it. That's my little story about building agents. But I do think as well that same vision, it's become reality, and people will heavily lean into that as you see this unfold, this kind of digiscape unfold. You will see that the basic rigid chatbot as we know it will start to get replaced more and more as businesses slowly start to catch up with that type of thinking. And so I would also encourage you, if you're listening to this, if you're rocking with us, or if you're listening to this in the future for us, which will be the past then, for you, then definitely we encourage you to expand your thinking and think about what these sort of things, what can they do with your business, even on a customer facing level. Like, think about how many people hit your website daily. Now, take it from someone who used to run actually multiple click to chat teams in multiple companies and trained click to chat staff to adhere to certain KPIs, indicators, response time, correct resources, accuracy, verification of the logs. And this is even without a customer escalating. Then that's a whole investigation. So you can imagine how meticulous it was getting these things right. And now we're saying that, well, I could have done away with my whole team and have something that's presenting far quicker, far more efficient, far more productive, can juggle multiple chats, not limited to the human brain capacity of an average of 2 to 3 conversations at once, meet all of my KPIs, meet industry requirements when it comes to how long we're even allowed to have people hanging on lines, response time, customer service, return on the ticket. For yeah, all of this is literally gone, eradicated with something like this. So that's where my excitement stems from. That was a lot, but this is a lot. So let's go.
So they have, this is interesting because these interfaces are, like my first studio and then Pickaxes themselves. So we'll go into studios first. Okay. And I imagine this is where we would house multiple pickaxes. So here you go. When we're going to create a new pickaxe, it can be either a form or a chat. So people, like Tigz was mentioning earlier, like the first iteration of like AI was really, a chat bot on your website, right? Like this is something that's like a smart form of communication. So we have chat here. This is more conversational, what we're used to now in Chat GPT. But the form itself, the internet runs on forms, right? And when someone's on your website, you want to collect information or require the user to input certain things like, why are you here? What do you want to create? This is a little bit more tailored. So which one do you want to go with first?
Well, let's start with. I tend to think. Um, I tend to think. I don't know why. In my head, forms are the boring version of chat. Probably if I really psychoanalyze myself, probably because I'm impatient and I know if it's a form, there's going to be a lapse of time before that form is picked up. Um, so I'm probably not going to get the information that I'm looking for, at least not now. Where even just a chat, now it could be exactly the same response time, everything, but just feeling like I'm in a chat feels like I am in the conversation, whereas the other one feels like an email or writing a letter where I'm now in a waiting mode of response time. That's my impatience as a Sag.
So I think I totally get it. Let's try chat. So what this is going to do is it's going to ask us to create we'll have to configure it similar to a custom GPT, right? You can see here, I know Tigz would like this. Use image default image generation, which is Flux. Have introductions, prompt injections, right? So a lot of this is very similar to creating a custom GPT, which is cool. Then that's the prompt side of things. Then here's the configuration side. So we can customize the icons. Token length, this is important because we all know that, Chat GPT does have this like summary bias, right? So sometimes we get shorter responses than we actually need. So there's a word bias. I try to use these words, avoid these words. That's great. Okay. And then, of course, your knowledge base and actions. So now we're going into this more agentic aspect, right? Here's what we can do afterwards. Now, I know previously, I don't think there were as many actions, but here now we can do a bunch of different things. Isn't that cool, Tigz? There's your action aspect, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually first and foremost. I also see 11 Labs, so that'll be interesting because we've been exploring that recently as well. And I'm very happy to know that Flux is an integration because exactly the convo we were just having. How do we make it so easy for someone who doesn't know about prompt engineering to come out with a super prompt and a similar sort of level as an expert without having to do a 3-year degree in biochemistry, right? So that's a problem that you and I have literally just been speaking about solving. How can we create an application that's like in a few taps, you're prompted as it was an expert. And so now when I'm seeing this, what excites me is like if you think about uh, NA10 and some of the other tools, Replicate, I think was one we've explored, and some of the other tools. The next step of it, the kind of the next step in the evolution, I'm guessing, of this application, if it's not introduced already, we speak about the store, right? Imagine a marketplace, and now you can connect with people who can build these things, or you can literally imagine you and I can build a template right now to solve a use case or a problem and list it on that store. And every time someone wants to download that template, as the creator or the developer, you get paid. So that's where I'm guessing this could go. But at minimum, I would like to see them present and showcase the developers' works in some sort of a page or a store where others, even if it's free, where others who need a solution for that use case can go and take advantage of those chains, those agent chains, as it were, those automations. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that they do. I know that they're big on community. Remember when we spoke to them, they said, they're all about community. And I believe I saw on the homepage or the, dashboard that, hire an AI expert. So this seems to be a really interesting avenue that they're taking because I know, as you said, that NAN does have that built in where you can actually buy those templates, right? Um, so some of the things like basic if webhooks, like most people don't like in general know how to use that or create them. It can be a very frustrating thing. I know I've been in in the trenches saying, "Man, this is not as easy as they make it sound," right? So on YouTube, but yeah, I'm really excited about this, and we'll see. I don't know. I haven't even explored the community tab more to see if they're actually pushing the creators here. But let's create something cool, and maybe possibly we can put it on in the vault so that people can use it. So let's see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. This
Mhm.
is this is where we learn. AI tools are great, right? But I think some of the ones that will win will be cognizant of catering to the user experience. Um, we can solve a big problem, but in the process of solving that problem, are we now creating sub adverse effects, other problems? Are we creating other problems? So now, okay, well, you can give me a super prompt so I can get an image like I was a 10-year experienced graphic designer, but all of a sudden I have to read 3 manuals, go over here, do that, sit in this course, and then watch a 10-hour masterclass to be able to do it. So how can we make it so easy? Like we were saying in our conversation earlier, um, generally people can be lazy, especially in business, the repetitive and tedious tasks, and especially tasks that we have no interest in learning anyway, but we know that we need. So people can become lazy. How do we allow someone to become lazy, yet thus dependent upon the solution that we provide? Because it allows them to be lazy or have a measure of convenience. Basically, be like me when I was impatient and I didn't want to wait for a form response. I want my answer and I want it now. How can we give it to them now just as good as it would be as if they would wait or hire an expert.
So, so instead of um, this, I believe what we are intending to do is just test the functionality. But I love what you said because I know you're just talking about this. How do we make it super simple for people um, to just be a prompt engineer? You can go brag to the people in the office, like, yo, here's what I created. Uh, I want to walk people through a couple things here. They have templates that you can just select. And I know we can dive deeper into this. Is kind of like an impromptu session that we were just exploring because we have mentioned to the founders that we would look at their new iteration. So you can select templates. The thing that no, that maybe we can explore this a little bit, but when you're creating a GPT, there are components of that GPT that are important. One being like, what do you actually want it to do? Right? Um, if we look at ChatGPT right now, it's just a chat interface. And I think we've talked about this so often is that most people don't know what they're even going to do with ChatGPT, right? So let alone do something related to business or generate an image or whatever it might be. They have no idea how to interact with this form of conversational AI. But so this allows us to be very succinct. So if you had a business and you wanted to, for example, create a TIGZBOT or a website assistant, you could do that by using one of their templates. And then the other thing is we can also create roles. So Tigz, maybe you want to talk about, initially when we started walking down the road of SOS, we did speak about how to create roles. This is even before people started embracing the idea of act as. Is that something that I know that what we wanted to do was basically create agents, right? We wanted to allow, and we are doing that, allow people to have access to the best of the best. So if you were looking at, I know in one of the videos that you created, it was maybe a Harvard graduate, right? Or the elite marketers. So we're always looking at how can we use this conversational AI to return content or generations that people would normally not have access to in a small business environment. So I think this is one of those features that I'm really glad that they baked in. There's like, this is the role of this GPT. The other thing is the capabilities, right? So in ChatGPT, we do have that capability to do things like, hey, enable canvas or image generations or whatnot. And Tigz, you mentioned this, that it has a Flex integration, which is great, plus more options. So we can dive deeper into that. Oh, look at my favorite.
Your
Okay.
friend, wow, whoa, Flux One Pro. Man, this is exciting. I do have a question whilst you're on the same topic. So within the roles, does it allow us to do things like upload sources, documents, PDFs, website links, so it can act as a knowledge? Look at you, your knowledge base. Okay.
Look at you all acknowledging in that.
Einsteining it up, yo.
So yeah, I do. It does have now. So this is a really good example of like a lot of people always ask how say things like how ChatGPT doesn't talk like me or it's junk generations, things like that. Well, it's only because it doesn't understand what the context. Everything needs context, right? And so this is what our knowledge base becomes. And that's, I think, the distinction between just a random, this is the nuances that you always talk about, right? The custom functionality that you won't get in a large language model. In fact, I know there was a study recently, I think did a newsletter video about this, where I believe some of the smaller language models outperform large language models simply because of their ability to like hone in on a specific topic. And I believe there's metrics on that, but hey, there's your knowledge base. Here, I know you're going to ask this, and this wasn't really intended to be a long video. We can probably do a longer one, a walkthrough if the community wants to actually have us run through and create a complete specific use case or chatbot. But here you go. There's memory. Do you see that? So it says prompt injection, but it says here, if we read the input, it says add an additional prompt that will serve as a reminder to your bot.
Excellent.
Use special instructions related to style that you don't want your bot to forget.
That's crazy. So I
Yeah.
wonder if it compounds. I wonder if that compounds, and I also wonder whether that can be polluted, as we say, and whether it's able to be undone, or are there certain aspects? It's once it remembers something, you'll be better off building the whole thing again, because that's a problem we had before on some of the LLMs, where we couldn't get it to forget something that we wanted to undo, and therefore you just have to start the whole stream again, which again is time consuming and frustrating. I wonder how that works. Does it compound into certain files, sections? How can I strip something back that I wanted to not remember?
Well, that's really interesting because in our universal prompts, we actually do that delete, right? In the prompt instructions, we also include things that are really cool in terms of like promoting, save our startup, attributing the streams, things like that. So it doesn't look like it is extensive um, because of the input field, simply just because of the input field. But I am glad it's here. And I would love to see, like, if it were me on the feedback side of it, I would love to see attachments, you know, multiple instructions. Just because of the way we built the SOS GPTs, I would love to see that functionality here. So it
Absolutely.
can,
It
yeah.
makes it so simple as well. You see, like on OpenAI, you can go create an assistant, and those that have already been brand building, and it's not new, you will have certain assets, elements, documents, color codes, brand guidelines, languaging, how you speak, positioning, certain course materials, literature, ebooks. You've got these, and so think about how you've already got a head start. Think about how can we already leverage what we already have. And this is what some of these allow you to do. So I would love to see that as well, Andrea. Especially the document upload, more, or even screenshot upload is a good option as well. And then it can read the screenshots. I would love to, because I know that we didn't want this to be super long. We just wanted to introduce you guys and girls to this tool, and ask, what do you think you would use it for? Do you have any questions? Have you looked at building your own agents or chatbots in this case, more advanced chatbots, whether that's for your business, whether it's for fun, whether it's a creative task, a project? Can you see yourself building these out for other businesses and other people, serving the community in that way and embracing AI? There's decent dough in that. Okay. So what I would love to do in the name of time as well is to speak just a little bit about deployment. Let's and of course, anything else that you feel we should know. But I would like to include deployment. Once it's built and we've got the knowledge base we want to pour into it, it's acting in the certain role and persona, it's using the languaging that our business or we want it to use. And we understand the operating system. We know how to use the memory. We might even be able to throw images on there soon and put a face to the generations. Once that's all done, what's the best ways to deploy this, or the best or most common use cases, the popular use cases to deploy these things? Is it simply an embed on your site? Do people have to come over to here and use the interface on Pickaxe? What happens once you have your chatbot built?
So let's actually walk through that quickly because two things. That one of the biggest problems with creating chatbots in OpenAI or any chat-based anything, right, is like the extensibility. How do we actually get people to use it, right? And so I just selected a template, and then it basically provided some instructions, and we're gonna just deploy this for the sake of our community, right? So it's as simple as, okay, I've configured everything, created the prompt, the role, all this stuff. Imagine that we did that. Okay, we haven't done that because it's not that type of tutorial. And then we're going to just go to publish. Um, we're in theory. So, and I do believe these guys are really solid, but in theory, we are supposed to be able to um, put this on our website. Okay. So you see the embed option and then the share option as well. So what that means is we can share direct to, and I'll just pull up a different browser so that we can look at it ourselves, right? So, okay. In theory, we can share directly to with the link based on that. So if you have a Facebook community or something like that, you'll be able to use the bot here. See
That is
now,
I need
yeah.
to be there for a moment. But you're saying not only does it embed or we can use it for our website, but we can prompt it and pull it into our community as a moderator, for example. I mean, you and I have also explored building things like Discord bots to serve the community information as and when they need it, to let the communities that we're building know the moment we go live, new content. So all of the updates, all of the things, right? And then we also explored with things like, okay, we've been doing ManyChat for years now. We've experienced with InRow, with AimFox, and a whole bunch of automation tools that we find fun. And more recently as well, I say more recently, we started, a couple of years ago, but we built one recently for SOS specifically, is a Telegram bot. So are we saying that this can be deployed universally across all of those aforementioned channels?
Well, so here's the thing, when, and I want people to really understand this. Is one, it looks like there are webhook integrations there in terms in actions. So it does seem, and there are also Zapier and Make integrations as well, which means that yes, it's very likely possible that it can integrate with Discord, Telegram, which everyone knows can be a pain if you're using things like BuildShip or Replit, stuff like that. But check this out, Tigz. This is something that you'll be the most excited about. This is the link, right? This is the link from Pickaxe. Didn't do anything with it. I didn't embed it in my site. I didn't create a domain. None of that craziness, right? And here, I'm thinking, oh, they must be like, oh, let's sign up, get other people to come on to Pickaxe. But no, this is the studio. This is for your users. Okay. So you see the studio image here. That's the studio icon for the
Oh,
studio that we created,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and we can just verify this, but let's just try it. So it's of course different accounts, the million accounts that I have here. We can run through this. This is actually wouldn't this be great for a part two if we just walk people through how this is actually usable for a business to basically create AI for your specific business, right? And then use that as a lead magnet. I'm just going to stop there right there. But yes, you can share the link directly from the Pickaxe, so you don't actually need a website. That's one. Okay. Now let's go back at the final thing. And everyone, hey, go to our YouTube channel if you're not there already, because we have a YouTube channel that we're growing to as well. Now, where did I put the pickaxe? The whole thing, did it disappear from life in general?
I don't know, but whilst you find that, I just want to say how happy I am that also we mentioned earlier about if we can put a face to the
Mhm.
generation, but we can put a name and a face. So imagine what that would look like with our I don't know if you have any at hand, but it's okay because we can do a whole tutorial. I don't think it should be a part two. I think that we should really give our community a treat. And I tell you what, the best thing if you're watching this that you can do is drop your use case in the comments below or on the side or above, depends which platform or community or group you're seeing this in. Yes, we be everywhere down here. um, So we got to be omni. So please drop your comments in the chat. Let us know what you would use it for. Let us know what other applications or similar tools alike that you've dabbled with, how far along your journey, your AI journey you are. Are you kind of at the beginner surface level and you're dipping your toes in the AI jungle and you want to find out more on what these things are actually capable of? Maybe you've built out one or two yourself, or maybe you're all in. Maybe you already knew and you're a visionary like us as well, and you knew this is where it was going, and you could be 100 chatbots deep and serving the wider community in business as well. But we would love to know your use cases, any recommendations, any feedback, and more importantly, how can we help and serve you? What questions do you have? No question is a silly question. That's one of our mottos, to be honest with you. So please never feel shy. The likelihood is that others have the same question, but they're a little bit more timid and so not forthcoming. And so nobody learns that way. So let's create a real interactive environment and culture within our communities, which is what we stand for. Wherever it is we're teaching or learning or growing together, we've built other communities way before AI communities, you and I, Andrea. And the reason they've been successful and still standing is because the same ethos, regardless of the topic or the subject, always applies. And those are first human core values. We respect each other. We support each other, we pour into each other, and that's exactly what we would like to extend to you guys. So drop down below in the comments. First of all, if we don't, would you like us to do a full tutorial on this? Where are you in your AI journey? What's your use cases? Because then that way, the more information you give us, and we can understand, well, maybe one of y'all might want to know about image generation, but 11, 12 of you need to know about how to code DM or close sales, right? Which is important in business. And so then it would make sense for us. It helps us to help you. And we know, right, okay, then we should do a tutorial. These are the sections that we should include to empower our community down in the SOS vault. And also how long to spend on each section and how deep to dive, right? So that's the purpose of, I guess, this exercise, is to give you guys a teaser. I don't know if you found what you need to find over there, Andrea, but I did want to get that in. If you're not a part of the SOS communities, we do have a bunch of free communities where we give so much value in there that we already know because we've been within other AI communities they charge for. Again, it goes back to mottos and integrity. We always like to lead with value, so much so that when you give someone so much value, in the end, they almost within themselves have no choice but want to support you so that you can keep supporting them and others as well. So guys, that's kind of my little tiger dance. And Andrea, I'm gonna leave it to you in case you found what you found. But I just want to say, anyone, if you're not part of the community, or if you're in the community and you know somebody that you should be sharing this with, they might share an enthusiasm within AI, or they might be totally against it. And this would be a perfect way for you to introduce them to it and maybe to unattach some of those bias, and so they can step into the revolution with you, or the evolution, as we like to say. But I'm gonna land there, Andrea, and please feel free to wrap up the session, and then we can both say bye-bye to our people and get out of here. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, hey guys, I'm really glad that we sat down and Tigz said hit record so that we can share it with everybody, because we actually do this all day long, and we want to let you just kind of like inside our world. So I did find the embed section here. You can embed, and it's really cool. We can walk through those features later. If you really want this full-blown 3-hour tutorial, which we typically do and enjoy. And if that's something that you need, let us know, drop it. The use cases Tigz mentioned in the comments, wherever this is posted. And we really appreciate you. We're going to keep it short, succinct. Share this group if you're in the group, or you find this on LinkedIn or wherever you find it. Just invite people to join the community. We want to really help everyone who's interested in leveraging AI actually use it to either grow your personal economies or your business, whatever it may be. So yeah, thanks for sitting with us and just going through the random use cases and thoughts that pop through our head. And we'll be back again for more content like this if you enjoyed it.
Until the next time, I've been Tigz.
And I've been Andrea and Naomi.
And we've been SOS. Sound the alarm, yo.